There's not a nice way to say this. Lane Kiffin just flat out attacked Jimbo Fisher, but he had a right to do so because Jimbo Fisher attacked him and Nick Saban in the offseason. These aren't my words. This came from Lane Kiffin. He said it's personal.
Texas A&M. What happened? How you lose to Michael Pettis and the Ole Miss Rebels?
One of my favorite head coaches in all of college football at this given moment in time is Lane Kiffin. I truly and I just hope and pray that whenever Nick Saban retires, he gets the Alabama job. I would love that. Ever since Kiffin was the offensive coordinator at Alabama, which seems like years and years ago when Alabama had Blake Sims as a quarterback, that's when I really started to like him. It was also a very weird time for Alabama football because a lot of Alabama fans, they didn't like Kiffin. They can tell you now, oh yeah, we liked him as offensive coordinator, but trust me, many fans didn't. And I understand 100% why Bama fans weren't too fond of him, and heck, even at times Nick Saban got pissed off at Lane Kiffin for passing the ball way too much. However, with that being said, nobody ever brings this up or talks about it whatsoever. Kiffin, what he did at Alabama, that was the start to Alabama's offense changing entirely. When Kiffin got in there, Alabama wasn't known for having quarterbacks that was going to beat you. It was run first and have a game manager. And you got to give credit to Saban because whenever he brought Kiffin in around 2015, he knew that college football, the landscape, it was changing. To be 100% honest with all of you, I don't even think Nick Saban particularly wanted Lane Kiffin to be the offensive coordinator, but he knew he had to make a change. And that's just one reason as to why I give Nick Saban so much credit, because he always adapts before everyone announcing college football does. Anyways, getting on topic with this video, I know what you're sitting there saying, yo Matt, why did you just rant about Lane Kiffin and Alabama for 2 minutes? Well, the reason for that is because it goes hand in hand with what Lane Kiffin just did. There's not a nice way to say this. Lane Kiffin just flat out attacked Jimbo Fisher, but he had a right to do so because Jimbo Fisher attacked him and Nick Saban in the offseason. These aren't my words. This came from Lane Kiffin. He said it's personal. The reason I brought up Kiffin and his tenure with Alabama and Nick Saban is because Lane Kiffin admires Saban. He has so much respect for him. So part of a reason that Lane Kiffin went on this tangent against Jimbo Fisher is because Jimbo did disrespect somebody that Kiffin looks up to. And I'll be the first to tell you this, I love it. I already liked Kiffin before, but I like him 10 times more after this. We're going to talk all about that, and we also got to talk about a Florida player getting kicked off of the team. Hey, what's new? I can't even act shocked by this. That's the most Florida thing ever. It seems like this happens once a year. We got a lot to get into. We're not doing no intro, none of that. All right, Matt, blah, blah, blah. Shut your crap up. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. First things first, the former 5-star recruit, Brenton Cox Jr., and arguably the best player in Florida in general, he has been dismissed, kicked off, suspended, whatever you want to call it. I would love to come up here and say this is a major blow to Florida, and this is going to set them back, but they already suck. This would be a bigger conversation if this was a player for Tennessee, Georgia, Ole Miss, or Alabama, but it's Florida. Regardless of that, I've seen a lot of people on Twitter, they're confused by this. They don't know why he's gotten kicked off or dismissed, and here's what the head coach Billy Napier had to say. Brenton, we kind of decided to move on here. I think that being a football player at the University of Florida is a privilege, right? There are certainly expectations and standards that come with that. Obviously, he has done a lot of good things for the University of Florida, and we wish him nothing but the best, but sometimes you have to make decisions in the best interest of the team. Certainly with Brenton, we're certainly going to do everything in our power to help him with his transition, which means more than likely he's going to enter the transfer portal. For those of you that are curious, like I said earlier, he was one of the best players on Florida. He was leading the team with 8 tackles for a loss. Also, I bet a lot of people didn't know this. This isn't the first time he's been dismissed from a team. He also left Georgia because Kirby Smart and him said, quote unquote, it just didn't work out. This is what he said years ago about him leaving Georgia, and by him, I'm referring to Brenton Cox. Me and Coach Smart, which is Kirby Smart, agreed on the mutual decision for me to leave, and I came here. That's been the best decision I made so far, and we all know a quote-unquote mutual decision, it's not mutual. That's a nice way of saying Georgia, Kirby Smart asked him to leave without causing a huge scene. So obviously, it goes without being said, and everyone has been speculating this, there's some behavior problems or attitude problems. Man, I can't stress this enough. It seems like we talk about it at least once a month on the channel where you have a 4 or 5-star recruit, they got all the talent in the world, but they just can't behave. I will continue to say this till the day I die. It's one of the most frustrating things for me to see when you have a guy who has first-round talent, but they simply can't stay out of trouble. I'm not going to talk about it too much longer because, to be quite frank with all of you, it pisses me off to even talk about it. It is what it is. I don't know what's next for this guy, but I'm wishing him the best of luck. Finally, though, moving on to the main topic of the main encore, the main reason you clicked onto this video, we gotta talk about the good old Lane train. Let me ask y'all a question. Is there a more polarizing head coach in the country than Lane Kiffin? I don't think so. I don't think there's any in between. You either love this guy or you hate him. Me, myself, I happen to love him. Well, maybe hate's a strong word, but you're either a fan of him or you're not, plain and simple. For example, even the people that don't necessarily care for Nick Saban, you respect the guy. We're not going to beat around the bush. We're jumping straight into it. On Saturday, Ole Miss defeated Texas A&M 31-28. Where Ole Miss rushed, not passed, they rushed for 390 yards. And their star running back had 200 yards himself. I don't care what any of you say. I know A&M's having a bad season, but that is a big win for Ole Miss because talent for talent, player for player, A&M is far superior than Ole Miss. And this isn't a knock or disrespect to Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin because he's even admitting that. After the game, he stated, quote unquote, 390 yards rushing against a bunch of 5-stars? After he said that, the reporter asked him what he was going to be for Halloween, and he said, Jimbo the Joker. Oh, man. When I say that is the most Lane Kiffin response ever, I don't even know how to describe it. That's just something only Lane Kiffin would say. I mean, do some of y'all remember last year before he played Alabama and Nick Saban, he said, get your popcorn ready, then proceeded to get blown out? You can't make this stuff up. Some of the crap that Kiffin says, only he would think about saying it. Moving along here after the game, you know he was going to be asked about those comments, and here's what he had to say. I don't give you coach speak, so yeah, that's real. Someone attacks you personally, calls you and your buddy Coach Saban both clowns, you take that personal. So glad we won. I guess I can be a clown for Halloween then. Oh man, let me know in the comments. What do y'all think about that? Maybe it's because I respect and admire Saban so much myself, but I just love how he's taken up for Saban. He said word for word, someone attacks you personally, calls you and your buddy Coach Saban both clowns, you take that personal, and he's right. It is personal. I said it in the offseason. I lost all respect, if any respect I have for Jimbo after he said those statements. And I want to harp on this. Here's what most people don't understand. In life, when somebody gives you a chance, when everybody was laughing at you, clowning you, doing this, doing that, you need to show him respect to the day you die, and that's what Kiffin is doing towards Saban. And that's why I do respect Kiffin so much, because he understands that. If that wasn't enough for you, Lane Kiffin didn't stop, because on Sunday, or this might have been Monday, but I think it was Sunday, he tweeted out, this isn't even a troll account, this is Kiffin tweeting this out. Lane Kiffin talking in third person, bury Jimbo Fisher. Here's why he roasted the Texas A&M coach, don't attack the GOAT, referring to Saban. And then after all that, he puts hashtag karma, happy Halloween to all. Dude, Lane Kiffin is the corniest of cornballs alive. Whoa. Hold on. I know what all you're about to say. Oh, why is Lane Kiffin deriding Saban so much? Why he praising him so much and yada, yada, yada? Well, come on now. He's playing chess. Y'all are playing checkers. I think some of you know where I'm about to go with this. Lane Kiffin is trying to set him up for that Alabama job. As an Alabama fan, if Saban announced today or tomorrow he's retiring, there's 2 head coaches I want. Either Deion Sanders or Lane Kiffin. That's who I want. That's my top 2, and number 1 is Lane Kiffin, no doubt about it. I love me some primetime, but Kiffin, he's proven he can win in the SEC West. I'm not saying Deion Sanders would struggle in the West, but Kiffin is more established, if you get what I'm trying to say. I just can't get over this. If you don't want to believe in karma, I'll tell you this much. God is a real thing in whichever God you believe in. You can't make this crap up. Texas A&M's coach Jimbo Fisher talking all this crap because guess what? He thought he had all these 5-star recruits and he was going to have the greatest season of all time, and now he's not even going to make a bowl game. You can't make this stuff up. The only reason Jimbo was talking crap is because he thought he had a better team than everybody else. And technically, he does have a better team. He's just a terrible coach. That's not my opinion. That's a cold, hard fact. You can do what you want with this information. I am very curious. Let me know your thoughts down below. But